Hey everybody, today I want to talk to you about how to manage behavior. So you want to know how to manage behavior? I'm going to give you 3 different scenarios in this video. Now, behavior is something that any living thing does. So I'm going to talk to you about not only how to manage your behavior, your kids' behavior, but other people's behavior. Let me first start out by saying that I have my master's degree in education and I focused on learning about behavior and how to manage it. Now, I'm only saying this so you can understand that I have studied this for years now, and I've worked with clients and I've worked with students, and I've actually tested these theories and tested these behavior programs, so I know that they work. The first thing that you need to know is the ABCs. And no, not the alphabet that your mom taught you when you were little. I'm talking about antecedent, behavior, and consequence. Those 3 words are super important for knowing and understanding behavior. The antecedent. The antecedent is what happens before the behavior. The behavior is what is actually happening, and then the consequence is what happens in response to the behavior. Now, let me be clear. The regular terminology that we use as the word consequence, we automatically, as a society, kind of say that that's like a negative thing altogether. But in the behavior world, a consequence is just a response to the behavior or the reaction, okay? So don't think of consequence as, oh my gosh, something bad, because that's not exactly what it means in behavior. It just means a result of something. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. You feel hunger, you go get something to eat, and now you feel full. The antecedent is the hunger. The behavior is eating, and the consequence is feeling full. So it's important for you to understand what all of these mean. The antecedent is my body telling me I'm hungry. So that's what happens before. And in order for me to get to the consequence of feeling full, I have to eat, and that's the behavior. Now, something you should know about behavior is that a behavior is something measurable and observable. So here's one of the things that you cannot measure when someone is complaining about back pain. They may tell you that they have back pain, but you can't measure that because we're not the person. So that's why sometimes doctors have a tricky time figuring out how to manage someone's behaviors or pains because they can't see it or observe it. Now, it's not to say that somebody is lying, but if I can't see the behavior and I can't measure the behavior, then I don't know that it's actually happening. So let me give an example about kids, because I'm friends with a lot of moms and I direct a lot of my content to moms. And so I feel like if moms could understand behavior a little bit better, they might handle situations a little bit different. So now here's the antecedent. Your kid spills paint all over the living room. You yell at the kid for spilling the paint all over the living room, and then the kid cries. So the antecedent was the mess, right? Now, yes, that's also a behavior, but the antecedent of the kid making the mess wouldn't have resulted in the behavior if you weren't there to actually yell, if that makes sense. So the antecedent in this situation is the mess. You see the mess, you yell. See how that's measurable and observable? If you were yelling, someone could come in and they can see you yelling and then they can measure it. And then the result, the consequence in this case would be the kid crying, or you could even say that the consequence is that your living room is a mess. There can be more than one consequence, there can be more than one behavior, and there can be more than one antecedent. So that's something that you should also know. But in order to understand how to manage behavior, we need to know these ABCs so you can prevent the consequences that you're not looking for from happening. So don't get me wrong. If my kid took a bucket of paint and, threw it all over my living room, there's definitely that sense of anger and frustration coming out. And I don't always act, the most calmest person either. We're human, right? But the importance is occasions that you can control and things that you can start changing to not get the consequence that you're resulting in. So here's a great example. Say you take your kids to the pool and it's about time to go. What you can do is the antecedent is setting a timer and telling your children, hey, in 2 minutes, we're leaving. And then the kid can usually respond and say, okay, or whatever. Even if your kid can't respond verbally, you should still say what's going to happen. That's another important one. A lot of people think, oh, she's 1, she doesn't even know what I'm talking about. No, you should definitely say it out loud. It is training them and having them learn what words are and what they mean, and that they respond to something and that they make something happen. So the first thing you want to do at this pool scenario is you give your kids a warning, a heads up about what's going to happen. Because in life, even as adults, we like to know what's going to happen next in order for ourselves to prepare for it, right? A red light means I'm going to stop soon. Or a stop sign means I'm going to stop soon. Or my boss telling me I have to be work at 7 o'clock, I know at 6:30 that work is coming up next. So a lot of the times when behaviors are happening with children and they are crying or having tantrums, it's because they didn't know what was about to happen or they didn't have enough time to process it. So you want to make sure that you're giving your kids a good heads up, and timers are amazing. So back to the pool scenario. You're at the pool and you tell your children it's 2 minutes before you're about to leave. Set a timer so you don't fall into that, we're gonna leave in 2 minutes, and then 7 minutes later, you're still there. Oh, we're going to leave in 10 minutes, and then 20 minutes later, you're still there. Am I guilty of that? Absolutely. Many parents are. It happens. If you're having problem behaviors right now, you wanna squash all that messy work for right now, and you wanna make sure that you are focusing fully on training your child to be able to listen to you. Once the timer goes off, it is time to tell the kids that we're getting out of the pool and we are leaving. No matter what, you need to leave that pool. Now let's go back to the ABCs. The timer goes off is the antecedent. The behavior is you telling your kids verbally it's time to leave, and you're maybe packing up your stuff, and then the consequence might be them trying to negotiate to stay longer, or maybe it's an immediate cry. Whatever happens with the kids, your consequence is you are leaving the pool with them. Don't threaten to leave your kids behind, because some kids will do that. They'll say, okay, see you later. Even if your kid right off the bat is not willing to leave on their own 2 feet, pick them up and take them with you. I know that sounds crazy, but I was actually at a bowling alley once, and this parent, they really wanted to follow through, and they were doing so great, except they said, we're leaving without you, and then they did, and the kid just sat there and did not care. So we really can't leave our children places, right? So eventually the mom did have to come back and get him, and now everything she did before that is squashed because he won. He made her come back and get him, and he knew that she was not going to leave without him. So don't make threats that aren't actually going to take place. Empty threats are a waste of everybody's time. What I'm saying is very, scientific, right? In a sense that this is how it is on paper. It's always not that easy in life. We know that. If you don't want to cause a scene at a bowling alley, then don't make threats or promises or warnings or timers that you're not going to stand by. So if your kids are little and you can pick them up and walk out, then definitely fully go through all the motions, and when it's time to leave and they're not leaving, just pick them up and go. It's not negotiable. You're the parent and they're the kid. Plain and simple, what you say has to happen. But if you don't follow through the first time, they know they've got you. They know that they have some negotiation that can happen, and you're gonna play right into it. So if you're having problems with your kid, you wanna make sure you are following through the first time. So if you're at a family member's house and you're ready to leave, you set that timer. The great thing about timers is that it's a prompt that is usually audible, and so that way the child knows what's gonna happen when the timer goes off. So you can set it for whatever amount of time that you want, but when that timer goes off, your kid needs to learn that whatever you said was going to happen is going to happen, no matter what. One of the most important things I think that people need to know is that managing behavior can be really managed for any living thing, even animals. Let's say your goal for weight loss is to eat less calories. So now let's go back to the hunger example. You're hungry and you want to eat, and what's your consequence going to be is filling yourself up. Now, to get even more in depth, if you are hungry but you want to lose weight, you need to pick something that you're going to eat that's not going to go above your calorie count. The consequence will be that you're full and you have not gone over your calorie intake. Now, let's say in the same scenario, you're hungry but you eat McDonald's, your consequence is going to be going over the calorie count in most cases. Now, another way to think about how you're going to feel is your antecedent now could be, I just ate McDonald's and I feel like crap. My behavior is going to be maybe crying or getting down on myself or negative talk. And then my consequence is just going to be having those extra calories on my body that I'm not able to burn off now. Now, am I saying that weight loss is easy? Absolutely not. I'm on my own journey myself, so I totally understand that it's not as easy as it sounds. My purpose of this video is for you to understand how behavior works and how we actually can control it if we put ourselves in the right positions to do so. So if you want to lose weight, then you need to make sure the right food is in your house. And also another thing is you need to know why you're eating in the first place. If you're eating at 11 o'clock at night, I'm guaranteeing in most cases, you're actually not eating because you need the fuel because you're about to run a marathon. My guess is that it's comfort eating or maybe depressed eating. So if you're wanting to change your own eating behaviors or you want to lose weight, you have to think about your behaviors in this sequence and then fill in the blanks for what you actually want. And then you should be able to help manage your mindset a little bit better from understanding the behaviors and why we actually do them. I'm actually going to put a free guide down below so you can actually print out the antecedent, behavior, and consequence chart, and maybe by filling them in yourself, you will be able to help manage your different behaviors, your weight loss goals, your business goals, whatever it is that you have in the little chart. Now, I also recommend that you could laminate it and then you could use a dry erase marker and you could write on this thing over and over, or you could just print several of them if you want, hang them up somewhere. And like I said throughout the video, managing behavior is not always easy and it definitely takes some time. So be patient with yourself and with the people around you. It won't all come easy right away. And as always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of the support. And if you haven't already, hit that red subscribe button down below for more videos like this and for future business tips. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.